well. Nivedana, this is the big story we continue to track here on Mirror now. A major security breach in Parliament on a day that India is remembering the security personnel and that one gardener, the 9 security personnel and one gardener who had died in the line of duty 22 years ago in a Parliament attack. That was the old Parliament. This is the new Parliament. This man and woman who've been apprehended weren't carrying ammunition. That is very clear. But do they have any links to any terror organizations? Again, we do not know. That is subject to investigations. But what they have done is honestly an attack on India's democracy. This is India's Parliament. And these are India's elected representatives. You have a point to make, you make that point. No one is stopping you from making that point. Don't breach Parliament's security to make that point. What this incident also, comes as is a wake-up call. We think that our Parliament is one of the most secure buildings in the world, as it should be. Then how is it that one man and one woman, or 2 men and 1 woman, we are again not very clear on how many there were, because you heard Mr. Tagore also speaking about the fact that there were 2 men. Right. How is it that 2 men could breach Parliament security, jump to the chambers, and release what I call a color bomb? I'm not sure what the correct terminology is. I'm sure it's just a matter of time when security agencies will hold a press brief and tell us what exactly it was. It clearly. All right. Karthi Chidambaram is joining us on the broadcast as well. Mr. Chidambaram, thank you very much for your time here on Mirror Now. Can I start by asking you if you were on the floor of the House and what you saw, sir?
Yes, I was. I was in the House. There were 100 members in the House. 0 hour was going on. I was awaiting my turn to speak. Suddenly noticed a person fall from the visitors gallery. That was my first reaction. Thought it was maybe somebody leaned over and fallen down. Then everybody realized it was a deliberate act, and he started running towards the Speaker's chair. Mr. Rajendra Agarwal was in the Speaker's chair. He was overpowered by members in that vicinity of where he fell, but he pulled out a canister which started emitting a yellow smoke. There was another person who jumped from the visitors gallery. He also had a canister in his hand which was emitting a very thick yellow smoke. This yellow smoke could have been lethal, could have been toxic, but obviously it's not lethal and toxic. But it could have had very far-reaching consequences had it been toxic and lethal. So serious breach of protocol, serious breach of security. I can't believe that the response of the security teams are also very lax and slow. So even the marshals, I don't know what level of training they have to react to these kind of things, because there are marshals even in the visitors gallery. I do not know how somebody can, in spite of the marshals being there, jump into the House. So we have to really review the security systems in this Parliament. The consequences could have been very, very tragic and lethal.
Could you tell me what happens after? We are seeing pictures of 1 man, but almost every MP, Mr. Chidambaram, we have spoken to has spoken about 2 people, 2 men who had jumped in. Could you tell us what happens post that? You're telling us that it was Member of Parliament who actually apprehended these 2 men. It was not the marshals. What happened post that? If you could describe that scene for us, Mr. Chidambaram.
It was overpowered, the person who jumped in first, but then the marshals came in and the security came in and they took them away. But by the time they took them away, they had opened their canisters. It's a gas. If this gas had been lethal, and there were 100 members in the House who were inhaling that, it could have been very, very tragic, correct? So the response of the security was slow. It's not swift. 2 people jumping in the gallery where there are marshals too. That itself is very worrying. But how do 2 people come into this Parliament carrying canisters? There are multiple scanners which these people have to go through before they come in. They're not even allowed to carry mobile phones. So how did they manage this? Somebody has to be responsible for this, right?
True. This is a major security breach, and it is coming on a day that is symbolic, Mr. Chidambaram. Therefore, I wish to ask you what your first reaction was. Was it shock that how can something like this happen 22 years to the day of the Parliament attack?
When somebody jumped down, I thought it was an accident. Then I realized it was a deliberate act. Even then, I did not even, in the wildest imagination, fathom him pulling out a canister. I thought it was might have been just a protester jumping in to make some point. But the fact that he had a canister is worrying tremendously because if the canister carried a very poisonous
Correct.
substance, the consequences could have been very, very lethal and fatal.